Good Sunday evening to all. Hope you had a very meaningful Shabbos. When you go ahead and perform a mitzvah, when you are dealing with an object, you understand it's an object, right? There's no issue of sensitivity. There's no issue of understanding the personality of the object. On the other hand, when we perform mitzvot with people, far more is demanded from us, right? We have to understand that we're dealing with a human and there are different feelings. And based on the personality and based on the tendency of the person I am interacting with, I have to adjust how I perform the mitzvah. In other words, when you want to go ahead and pick up the phone and call someone to uplift their spirits, it is important to know the personality, what they're going through. The key is never objectify a person. Never treat a person like an object. Understand the complexities of the human being, and then perhaps our chesed could be done correctly. And this is a message that makes its appearance in this parsha that we're going to read this Shabbat, Parashat Shoftim. We give gifts to those that teach Torah and inspire us spiritually. The Kohanim and the Leviim. Now, when it comes to the Kohen, the gift is a gift that is known as the Truma. When you give a gift to the Levite, it's Ma'aser. The rabbis tell us that there's a very significant difference between the two. When it comes to Truma, the Torah does not tell us the precise amount to give. And even when the rabbis tell us, you should give a specific amount, they give us options. If you want, you could give 2%. If you want, you could give a little bit more. You could give a little bit less. That is when you are dealing with the gift to the Kohen. On the other hand, when you give the gifts to the Levite, to the Levi, we are told it has to be a tenth. It has to be ma'aser, me'eser. Now, why is the Torah so specific, and why is it that the Torah wants us to give in such a different way? So here we have to enter into the different personalities that they represent. The Kohen is the one that interacts with people with emotion, right? A lover of people, like Aharon HaKohen, Ohevet HaBriot u'mekarvan LaTorah. He loves people. And therefore, for him, what is important when they get that gift is not so much the amount, but rather that the person wants to connect to them. And therefore, the giver is not told to give them a precise amount, but rather it fluctuates. An indication and a way of telling the Kohen, I appreciate your commitment and love. The Levi, on the other hand, is a man of precision. Like Moshe, they want to teach the law. That's what they're interested in doing, teaching what the Almighty wants from us. And yes, there's precision there. And therefore, the gift has to be one of precision. Now, obviously, there's a message there that when we interact with people, we have to know what their personality is, and based on that, give them, not just physically, but spiritually as well. But also, I take the message of the Kohen that it is important that when you interact with a person, don't just see them as an object. Let me tell you what I'm referring to. Many years ago, over 20 years ago, I was on a flight on an airline that just started flying from Buffalo to New York City. The airline was JetBlue. And on the plane itself, there was a Time magazine with an article about the CEO of JetBlue, a fellow by the name of David Neeleman, if I remember correctly. And it talked about what a decent person he is and the vision for the airline. As the plane landed in JFK, I walk off the plane, and there's a crew waiting there to clear the garbage from the plane to prepare them for the next segment of this flight. I spotted Mr. Neeleman there. David Neeleman was standing in line with the rest of the crew, holding a bag, ready to start cleaning the plane. And I went over to him, and I told him there was a magnificent article about him, and I was amazed to see him there. And one of the other crew members said to me that you should know that David treats every single person with dignity. He treats his workers, he treats all employees with dignity. And they noted, one of them mentioned, that for them, it is more important than receiving a greater salary, is the way the way he treats us. In other words, for such a person, and there are many such people, what is more important than getting a better paycheck is being treated by another person as a person with dignity. That's what they said about Mr. Neilman. And this is the message that we get from the Kohen, that when we give, it's not just giving what we have to do, and as they say in Yiddish, to be yotzet, to fulfill the obligation. It is a giving because you want to show your appreciation, right? And people, we humans need appreciation, right? We need people to say to us, and we of course have to say to others, we appreciate what you are doing. See the human, never objectify the other human. And there is a story of a specific rabbi that was once in a hospital, and someone walked in, and the person said, I'm walking in to do the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim. And the rabbi responded, listen, I'm not your lulav. In other words, don't tell me that you're here to do a mitzvah with me. Don't objectify me. Remember, I'm another person. You could come and you could go ahead and visit and show your concern. Do not objectify. This is a very important teaching that we get from this idea, the difference between the Truma and the Maaser. It should be a very meaningful week to all. Bye-bye.